Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Romilly. It's a real honour to be here to share my project Unearthing Lost Lands. For me, this was an exercise in reconnecting to ancestral ways of relating to land, rooted in animism, the belief that inanimate matter, such as rocks, plants, and water, have souls. I set out to distill the soul of a place, anima loci, and its connection to anima mundi, into a textile installation for others to experience. I began with a place I feel to have a strong anima loci, Barren Island in Brooklyn, New York. My research unearthed a rich and all but forgotten history. From the mid-1800s, the island was home to a resourceful community of mainly European immigrants who moved there to work in so-called nuisance industries, turning city garbage into a variety of useful industrial products. In 1936, they were given a 30-day eviction notice on instruction of Robert Moses to build the Marine Parkway Bridge. And it was at this time that the island was connected to the mainland by landfill. There's an alchemy in the DNA of Barren Island, defying linear narratives of take, make, waste. This process of breathing new life into waste materials is still alive today as people come to pick over the refuse and belongings of another era, which continue to be birthed from the land by the shifting tides. These were some of my early samples based on my experience of Barren Island, using colors, materials, and textures I collected there. In terms of my process, I developed a bio-embroidery technique by growing roots into 3D printed patterns through textiles. And these were some of my initial experiments with this technique. And here incorporating found objects and materials from Barren Island into my knits, burying them and seeing how the roots would interact with these objects and materials. I wanted to bring a material index of the land into the piece. So to create the mold in which the roots would grow, I sandcasted a spiral on Barren Island so that the roots have a direct relationship to the land they tell the story of. I naturally dyed and quilted an 8-pointed star, which I then buried with the spiral and seeds and let grow for 11 days before carefully removing the grass, which you see on the top left, to leave just the root embroidery on the textile. And here you can see the before and after image of that process. The three-dimensional spiral aspect of anima loci is an adaptation of a technique of wheat weaving known in the British Isles as corn dollies, which are a pagan harvest tradition with their own law relating to the land I grew up on. And this is the final installation, Anima Loci, the essence of Barren Island. It was made and shown alongside the installation Anima Mundi, which follows a similar material process, which I'll talk about now. I naturally dyed with indigo and felted the spiral textile on the right, and then buried this piece with the 3D printed 8-pointed stars on the left, which map out the constellation of the Hydra, marking the mythological entrance to the underworld. And here you can see the before and after image of this process with the celestial pattern created by root growth. So in both installations, the floor pieces are buried and later unearthed, rooted and then uprooted. Ether is the three-dimensional spiral aspect of Anima Mundi. It's made from copper and aluminium wire, knitted manually on the domestic flatbed machine with the carriage removed. I incorporated several different colors, which aren't immediately obvious unless you look closely in the right light. My project Unearthing Lost Lands is playing between two infinites, a synthesis of the universal and context-specific, what's living and dying, and what is buried and unearthed. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you to all of these people who supported the project.